Lògbàlògbà yéyéyé lògbàlògbà lògbàlògbà ẹ rọra o ẹ̀dá tí lògbà ó fi tẹ́ra ẹ lọ́rùn. Okay, good morning everybody. Yeah, okay. Good morning. For those of you who are new, I'll repeat myself for the often time, but by now, if you're familiar with the routine, you know that I'm going to start with my Yoruba language. And then we'll start with our Dogon Turenchi by 10 o'clock. So, ẹ káàárọ̀ ẹ̀yin èèyàn wa. Ṣé rí ní òwúrọ̀ yìí, ẹ jẹ́ kọ́kọ́ ṣàlàyé nǹkan náà, and for the benefit of the non-Yoruba speakers, I would say this in English for a reason. You will notice that I would usually have the Yoruba language clip posted with English subtitle for the benefit of the non-Yoruba speakers. But I've found that for some reason I still can't figure out, YouTube keeps silencing those videos after they are posted, and I'm not even sure the subtitles would even be available. So there is some either sabotage or ignorance on my part or that of the administrator of the YouTube channel. But here is the thing I'm going to be doing. I will continue to post my Yoruba language clip, this time without subtitle, until such a time as when we find a fix to the technical issue. So you will be seeing the Yoruba portion posted on his own, in his own right, but there will be no further attempt until we have found a fix for the problem. So that is for the benefit of those of you who don't speak Yoruba and you look forward to watching the Yoruba language session, hoping to follow with the subtitle. Unfortunately, that's where we are. So ẹ káàárọ̀ ẹ̀yin èèyàn wa, gbogbo atótónu yẹn òfin ṣàlàyé fún àwọn èèyàn wa tí ò gbọ́ nígbàtí tiwa tá à ń sọ ni kó lè yé wọn. Orí mi náà máa ń fẹ́ káwọn náà rí nǹkan tá à ń bára wa sọ, bẹ́ẹ̀ ṣe lè gbọ́ mi káwọn náà gbọ́ mi, torí irú nǹkan tí mo fẹ́ ká sọ̀rọ̀ lé lórí láàárọ̀ yìí kì í ṣe nǹkan tí ó máa ń wáyé lọ́pọ̀lọpọ̀ ìgbà. Ìbádẹ́ wù mí kó jẹ́ wípé àwọn tí wọn ò gbédè wa káwọn náà kí ó lè yé wọn, ṣùgbọ́n ìyẹn fọ́jọ́ mi. Ṣé rí nígbà tí mò ń bọ̀ bá yín sọ̀rọ̀ láàárọ̀ ìyọ̀tọ̀ ní nǹkan tí mo ní lọ́kàn pé ká fi bára wa sọ̀rọ̀, ká fi jomitoro ọ̀rọ̀ kó fi jọ yéra wa, torí wọ́n láì fẹ̀sọ̀ kébò sí òun ni ò ṣe ṣe é jó. Bàbá fẹ̀sọ̀ kébò sí ó ṣe é jó, èèyàn lè gbàjọ́ ẹ̀. Ọ̀tọ̀ ni tí mo ní lọ́kàn pé a sọ̀rọ̀ lé lórí lówùúrọ̀ yìí, ṣùgbọ́n ibi tí mo ti jókòó bí nǹkan ń gbọ́ Orlando Ọ̀wọ̀, ó wá gbé orin wá bọ́ síbẹ̀ lògbàlògbà. Mo gbọ́ lẹ́ẹ̀kínní, mo gbọ́ lẹ́ẹ̀kejì, wá yé mi pé ọ̀tọ̀ ni tí mo fẹ́ bá yín sọ tẹ́lẹ̀, ṣùgbọ́n tí Orlando gbìn sí mi lọ́kàn tí àwọn òwe àwọn bàbá wa tó wú jáde, òun ni mo gbọ́dọ̀ bá yín sọ̀rọ̀ lé lórí. Mo fẹ́ fi àkọlé ọ̀rọ̀ mi lówùúrọ̀ yìí, mo fẹ́ fi ṣe lògbàlògbà. Bẹ́ẹ̀ ni bórin Orlando náà ṣe lọ́nu, ó ní kí lògbàlògbà kó rọra. Lògbàlògbà ẹ rọra. Ṣé rí lògbàlògbà ẹ rọra yìí, àwọn kan tí wọ́n ń pè ní Latin, àwọn ará Róòmù lọ́hùn, ọ̀dọ̀ wa náà ti wá kọ́gbọ́n, torí nǹkan kan wà táwọn sọ lédè tiwọn, wọ́n ní memento mori. Ṣé rí nǹkan tí wọ́n ń pè ní memento mori, ní tó ń sọ ni pé rántí o, ọjọ́ kan ń bọ̀ o, ọjọ́ kan ń bọ̀ o, rántí ọjọ́ àti sùn o. Nítorí Orlando náà ń wínú lògbàlògbà ẹ rọra, ẹ̀dá tí lògbà fi tẹ́ra ẹ lọ́rùn. Ìjọ́ kan á jẹ́jọ́ kan, gbogbo wa dọ́lọ́run lóhùn, sẹ́ni tí ó wáyé tí ò ní lọ, àtàrí wọ̀run fẹ̀rẹ̀ bí ẹni tí ò ní bẹ̀rẹ̀, bẹ́ẹ̀ sì rí gbogbo orí tá a dá wáyé ní ó padà sájúlé ọ̀run. Bó la ṣe wá lo ìgbà wọ̀nyí? Mo rò wípé àwọn bàbá wa bọ̀ wọ́n ní ìgbà kì í pẹ́ lọ bí òréré, òréré ọmọ ọlọ́fin. Ẹni tó bá yé ẹ jẹ́ n ṣàlàyé ẹ̀. Òréré ọmọ ló jẹ́ fọ́lọ́fin. Òréré tá a sì ń wí rèé, ó mọ̀ ọmọ yìí mọ̀ rẹwà o. Gbogbo ayé ló fẹ́ fẹ́ òréré. Àmọ́ òréré tá a bá ń wí yìí, wọ́n á ní bọ́ bá ti fẹ́ bá sọ̀rọ̀ ó lọ dúró sóríta. Àmọ́ òréré ṣe ni máa yọ̀rìn. Òréré a máa yọ̀rìn ni kó tó bọ́ bá ṣẹ́jú pẹ́ òréré ti lọ. Tẹ́ni tó bá sì rí bẹ́ẹ̀ ẹni orí lọ́ọ́ bá sọ̀rọ̀ òréré ò ṣeé rí torí bọ́ bá ti ṣáájú pẹ́ òréré ti lọ. Òun làwọn bàbá wa fi ní ìgbà kì í pẹ́ lọ bí òréré, òréré ọmọ ọlọ́fin. Bó ni wọ́n ṣe wá ń lògbà tiẹ̀? Ẹ jẹ́ á mú lẹ́yọ kọ̀ọ̀kan. Ṣé rí gbogbo àwọn tí à ń pè ní òrìṣà lónìí, orí ló ṣà wọ́n. Èèyàn bí èmi àti yín ni wọ́n. Ohun tí wọ́n gbélé ayé ṣe tó dàbí àpẹẹrẹ ni wọ́n ṣe dòrìṣà. Bẹ́ẹ̀ bá tú ẹ rí ìdílé Ṣàngó, ẹ mọ ìyàwó ẹ̀, Ògún onírè, ọmọlú ẹ̀, èèyàn ni wọ́n. Odùduwà èèyàn ni. Awólọ́wọ̀ èèyàn ni. Bó ṣe lògbà tiẹ̀ la ṣe sọ̀rọ̀ ẹ̀ tá a ṣe sì ń sọ dèlé ni. Àwa bá láyé kì í pa abátàn nìkan, a sì fojú wa rí bó ṣe lólé ayé, a rí bó ṣe lògbà, a rí n tó fi gbà tiẹ̀ ṣe. Àwọn bàbá wa ní ọba tó jẹ́ tìlú rójú, orúkọ rẹ̀ ò ní parun. Èyí tó jẹ́ tìlú tún rójú, orúkọ tiẹ̀ náà ò ní rùn. Ohun tó ní kálukú bá ṣe òun lá sọ. À ń sọ̀rọ̀ nípa ìgbà t'Awólọ́wọ̀ lò. Ìgbà kì í pẹ́ lọ bí òréré o, òréré ọmọ ọlọ́fin. Awólọ́wọ̀ ti lọ, ohun tó ṣe ló kù tá à ń sọ. Lẹ́yìn Awólọ́wọ̀ tó lọ, àwọn bàbá Ọbásanjọ́ náà wà, àwọn sì wà around, wọ́n ń bẹ níbí, gbogbo wa ló sì rí wọn. Ọbásanjọ́ náà yọjú, ìgbà tiẹ̀ náà dé torí ìgbà pé oríṣiríṣi. Ìgbà ó yàtọ̀ sákòókò, àkókò ó yàtọ̀ sí nǹkan tójú ọjọ́ ń sọ. Ìgbà t'Awólọ́wọ̀ ti lọ, kì í ṣe pé ìgbà àti ṣe nìkan, ìgbà ayé náà ti lọ. Àwọn ti lọ ní tiwọn, nǹkan ṣe ló kù tá à ń sọ. Ọbásanjọ́, Ọlọ́run fún lágbára láàárọ̀, ó ṣe olórí wa. Ó ti bẹ̀ kúrò, ó bọ́ sí rìtáyámẹ́ǹtì, jẹ́ balógun o. Ó ti bẹ̀ kúrò, ó dèrò ẹ̀wọ̀n, àwa náà débẹ̀ rí, ọpẹ́ ní f'Olúwa. Ó tẹ̀wọ̀n padà bọ́lé agbára tó ń pè l'Aso Rock. Ó ṣe tán ńbẹ̀, ìgbà yẹn náà tán. Ìgbà kì í pẹ́ lọ bí òréré, òréré ọmọ ọlọ́fin. Wọ́n lo ìgbà yẹn, wọ́n lo sáà yẹn, ó tán. Bọ́n ṣe ṣe ó ti dohun tán, òun là ń mú sọ̀rọ̀ lónìí. Ìgbà tiwọn nù. Wọ́n ti kúrò ńbẹ̀. Bí wọ́n ṣe ṣe, àwa ó sọ tiwa. Òǹkálukú ó sọ tiẹ̀. Ọmọ aráyé ó sọ tiwọn. Lògbàlògbà, ẹ rọra o. Wọ́n lògbà tiwọn o. Ìgbà yẹn ti tán o. Sáà yẹn ti lọ. Wọ́n wà láyé o. Ọlọ́run dẹ̀ fún wọn lọ́rọ̀ sọ. Torí àwọn tó tẹ̀lé wọn, nígbà ká bá pé àjànàkú ó bí rárá, bó tiẹ̀ jẹ́ pé àwọn gan, àwọn náà pilẹ̀ gbogbo pálapàla tó wà nílẹ̀ lónìí. Ṣùgbọ́n yẹn kọ́ ni tí mo wá sọ létí, mo kàn ní rán yín létí ni. Lògbàlògbà, ẹ rọra. nígbà ó bá ṣe tán a wá padà sọ ìgbà tí Tinubu, ṣùgbọ́n ẹ jẹ́ wọn á ṣàlàyé. Mo rántí ìgbà kan lánàá, ó ń lọ sí bóyá bí ọdún mẹ́ẹ̀ẹ́dógún sẹ́yìn, ẹ máa rí àwọn kíní táwọn eléèbó fi máa ń polówó ọjà, kíní ìpolówó ọjà ńlá gàgàrà, wọn á gbé kan, wọn á gbé fọ́tò Gandhi, wọ́n gbé kan, wọ́n gbé fọ́tò Awólọ́wọ̀, wọ́n á mú àwòrán Tinubu, wọ́n á fi sẹ́gbẹ̀ẹ́ wọn, wọ́n jẹ́ mẹ́ta. Ní èyí tí ó jẹ́ wípé wọ́n ń sọ fún wa wípé ipò tí àwọn Awólọ́wọ̀ wà, tí àwọn Gandhi wà, ipò nǹkan náà ni àwọn bàbá wa olórí oko bámbàm ní Nàìjíríà lè ipò yẹn làwọn náà ti ríra wọn. Bóyá bí ọdún mẹ́ẹ̀ẹ́dógún sẹ́yìn ni tí mò ń sọ yìí, tẹ́ bá bá wa gbé kó ẹ rántí tí mò ń wí. Nígbà náà wọn ti dórí àlééfà o. Oríṣiríṣi ni wọ́n sọ nígbà náà o. Àti sísọ lójú eégún ìgbà tí wọ́n là wà o. Bóyá àdìbò bá àti ẹ̀ dìbò wọ́n ti wọlé, kò sí tá a lè ṣe sí. Sí ló wá yẹ kí wọ́n wá dójú ti ẹlẹ́gàn torí ìgbà tí wọ́n là wà yìí, wọ́n láwọn ló kàn. Ó kàn wọ́n títí ń sìn ó ti ṣẹ́wó mọ́ wọn láà o. Àwọn yẹn ń bẹ níbẹ̀ o. Àwọn náà ń bẹ níbẹ̀ lògbàlògbà. Ẹ rọra, ọba tó jẹ tìlú tòrò àti tó jẹ tìlú òrojú á sọ ń pa wọn o. Buhari dà, Buhari dà, ìgbà tí ẹ ti lọ, àtìgbà tó wà nípò ni, àtìgbà tó wà láyé ni, ìgbà tí Buhari ti lọ o, ìgbà tí yín ló kù o, ọ̀gá Tinubu. Á sọ ti yín náà, ìgbà ayé yín la wà yìí, ìgbà t'Ọlọ́run fi yín sípò la wà yìí. Kò sí bọ́n ẹ fẹ́ ṣe, wọn ò lè gbàgbé yín nínú ìtàn Nàìjíríà mọ́. Bá a fẹ́ bá a kọ̀, ẹ ti jọ lórí wa. Ṣùgbọ́n ọba tó jẹ tìlú tòrò àti tó jẹ tìlú tó tòrò á sọ ń pa wọn o. Báwo ò sọ, àwọn tí ó sọ sọ. Báwo ò sí mọ́ láti sọ, àwọn tí ó kọ̀ tán kọ̀. Nípa àṣẹ wọn la fi mọ̀ wọ́n, nípa àwa wọn la dá wọn lẹ́jọ́. Awólọ́wọ̀ mú free education wá sí Yorùbá ní o. Àwọn yòókù wọ́n sì wò láwòkọ́ṣe, àwọn náà bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ní kọ́. Gbogbo àwọn tí ó ka ètò ẹ̀kọ́ kún kankan tẹ́lẹ̀, àwọn náà mú lọ́kùnkúndùn. Bó lẹ́yìn ti ṣe o, bó lẹ́ fi ilẹ̀ sí. UCH wá nìbàdàn, àwọn Saudi a máa wá bẹ̀ ń gbà wọn ni. Nísìnyí ẹ̀yin lẹ ń lọ Paris, lẹ ń lọ London. Á sọ ń pa yín o, nǹkan ní wí ni o, torí gbà kì í pẹ́ lọ bí òréré. Ṣùgbọ́n bàbá wa sọ ń pa àwọn Tinubu, tá a sọ ń pa Ọbásanjọ́, tá a wí ń pa Awólọ́wọ̀, kí wọ́n sọ ń pa àwọn náà. Ìwọ fúnra rẹ̀ tó ń wò mí, tó ń gbọ́ mi, kí ni wọ́n sọ nípa tiẹ̀ náà nígbà tó lọ́jọ́ bá dé? Mo fẹ́ kó rántí èyí, kó bira rẹ̀. Nígbà tó bá wo oríṣiríṣi ìwà tó bá fẹ́ wù, rántí pé wọ́n sọ ń pa tiẹ̀ náà tó bá dọjọ́ kan. Èmi ò rí jù báyìí lọ lónìí ẹ̀yin èèyàn wa. Ọlọ́run kó dẹ́mi gbogbo wa sí. Mo rí yín bá lọ́sẹ̀ tó ń bọ̀. Ọlọ́run kó dá wa sí jùgbà náà lọ. All right, good morning everybody. That was the Yoruba language session. For those of you who are unused to my Yoruba language session, I'll just say it for the opposite time. I am convinced beyond reasonable doubt that when we are done speaking all these Dogon Turenchi that I'm actually quite proficient at speaking, we must understand that until we have freed the peasant class, the underclass, those who are not privileged to probably speak the kind of language you and I are able to understand, our people in the villages, the less privileged, the less exposed to Western education, until we learn that we must educate them politically in order to liberate their minds, because a professor's vote is the same as the laborer's vote. That's just the fact. And if you do not educate that laborer to understand the importance of the vote he carries, and not just that he understands the importance, organize him to understand the value, and so that he understands that in place of a gun, that's probably the most dangerous thing in the hand of a citizen, which he is not. But I'm doing my bit, speaking with you. You do your bit, speak with others. One person, yeah, but multiply that in effect. I have 237 of you on live as we're speaking right now. Imagine that all, even just half of you, would proceed from today's interaction to speak with persons within your sphere of influence. I seek nothing from you. I'm just saying, just as I'm spending the time, you spend the time as well. The most dangerous thing in an oppressive slave empire like Nigeria is a weaponized brain. A weaponized brain is the informed brain. That is the one that you need to start investing in. Inform the people around you, help them to understand the issues. Now, before I proceed, we would have the highest platform ready, if not this week, definitely by, I was constrained by finances. I don't raise money from any other source. My brother Kunle is doing an Herculean task to make sure that we have that platform ready, and he's also doing a lot at his own expense as well. But we'll complete the payment for that this week, and I'm sure that before the end of this week or early next week, the platform should be energized and ready for all of us. Don't worry, we'll come to it before the end of the year, and we should have it available to us. It's not just about talking. I've made my position very clear. Talk, one, is not cheap, but talk is not enough. We must at some point queue behind. No, I don't want no donation from anybody. Thank you very much. When it gets to the point where you own the platform and you administer it yourselves, you can, within the basis of the need within your own cell, you can raise whatever fund you need within your cell. You don't need any money. This is, we are not buying any cars, we're not doing it. So it's not about money. But that is just to give that information as relates to the ICE platform. We'll have that ready. If not this week, then very early next week. Now, this morning, my purpose is to speak to you. You would have seen the the notification. I was pondering Nigeria. I've spoken extensively to Harvest of Lies, because there are just too many lies underpinning the country itself. Everything seems to, or appear to be built on falsehood. So I found myself speaking increasingly about the duplicities, the lies that would appear to have overtaken the country. But the more I was looking at it, the more Nigeria continues. It's just like the gift that keeps giving. More every day, it I spoke about a criminal justice system, and every day it's almost like they are in a hurry to put it out there that, oh, he is right. We're actually quite criminal in every way. But this is about the house built of lies. Now that's dangerous. Yorubas have this proverb. They say, Ileti afi tomo irinyo, the house built, constructed with pit is bound to come down with the morning dew. It's that simple. It is not sustainable. Yorubas will say, Emi rocky igun. Lies do not live long. They're like a biku. If you told just one lie, just one, because they die quickly, you need to start erecting scaffolds of lies in order to maintain the original lie. You find very quickly that you begin to tell more lies in pursuit of the single lie that was told. I was always a very imaginative child, right? So when I was growing up, I realized that it actually made more sense. As rascally as I was, it simply made more sense to own up to my crimes. And I committed a whole heap of them as far as my parents and my grandparents were concerned. I was always unruly. But the one thing I strove not to do was to tell lies, because I realized very quickly that as fertile as my imagination was, it just couldn't keep up with the lies. You told one lie and then you had to tell another. Now, I found that liars have to have very good memories. My memory is lamentably poor. So I knew very quickly that there was no point in lying. So just tell the truth. Take your punishment once and for all, instead of taking the punishment and still ending up looking foolish because you tripped up on your own lies. You simply tripped up on your lies. So I looked at our country and I looked at the contradictions and the lies that have formed the basis for the creation of a country, for the construction of systems. We've built systems, governance systems, on the back of brazen lies, pure lies. We've built system on lies. Okay, if you if you told a lie and you have to constantly shift shape in order to sustain the lie in your personal life, you get to a point of contradiction where there must be a reset. That reset is where you acknowledge the lie. You take the consequence for the lies that have been told. And when you have taken the consequence for the lies that have been told, you then make adjustments so that you may come back to some semblance of equilibrium. Let me explain. Yoruba says that the farmer who planted 100 mounds of yam but claimed to have planted 200, when he is done eating the 100 mounds that are found on truth, he will have to hit the 100 mounds of lying yam, right? So here's the thing. When the rubber hits the road, when the farmer is done eating his 100 truthful mounds of yam, and hunger comes, he gets to the point of reconciliation between his imagination and the lies that he had imbibed and told to others. Maybe it waits for the time when he ought to, he told the lie to everybody, but he knew the truth. And Yorubas will tell you that two people cannot be equally fooled by the same lie. So he knew all along that he was lying. So here is the thing that would have happened in practical terms. When he's done with the Yam Festival, when he's, let's say for instance, everybody is living in abundance or is living in abundance for a season, and then frugality begins to step in if he's one who has some brain and not our Nigerian rulers who keep spending like they have billions when they are not spending anything. But let me not get ahead of myself. So at the point, this man is going to come to the knowledge of the fact that he's going to starve to death if he does not acknowledge the lie that he had told. And because of that realization, what almost always happens is that he would at some point cry out to his kinsmen, "Ebi ń pa mí o, I am hungry." When they ask you, but you planted 200 mounds of yam now, say, actually, you see, I exaggerated how many mounds I planted. The hunger inside of him will force him to the point of acknowledgement. And it is critical that he gets to the point of acknowledgement, because that is the point of his safety and salvation. But what happens when you are dealing with a country that has come to the point of reckoning but continues to lie to itself? And what is the point of reckoning? A nation of liars have built a country. It is called Nigeria, the house built of lies. And don't tell me about how it's a colonial experiment. I'm well aware of that. But we have kept it. Wars have been fought to keep it. Wars are still being fought to keep it. This lie has been kept intact. If the beneficiaries will not accept that they are lying to themselves, I would imagine that the victims must be capable of admitting to themselves that they have lied, because the consequence is starvation in the absence of acknowledgement and admission of the truth. Let's break it down. What is the lie what are the lies, I should say, that Nigeria has told itself? Nigeria has never sought to build a country of citizens. That is the fundamental lie that has attended the birth of Nigeria. That is the lie that led to the Civil War, and that is the lie that has birthed all the madness that you see today. We have continued to lie to ourselves in spite of the glaring truth that in the place of a nation, we have built a feudal state that has no respect for citizens, has no accommodation for the rule of law, and has battered multiple monsters in the place of a country. Let's start with the most current one, and it gives you the perfect illustration for the madness that has overtaken this country. This morning, I posed the question, so what is banditry? Should we start with that? What is banditry? When I was in the university, I never belonged to any secret cult. And those of you who went to university with me, who are in LASU with me, in spite of the years I spent there, I know a few people who used to think that because I stayed so long in the campus, I was probably affiliated. I was never affiliated with any secret cult. And I say this quickly because when I was in the university, I found that it was easier to get expelled as a student union activist than as a cultist. And I began to understand that it is linked to semantics. Semantics, language, is extremely important in understanding the systemic response to evil. The people we call cultists in the university, they were murderers. I had friends amongst them, but these were murderers. If you murdered somebody, you should be dealt with for murder. But we sanitized evil by finding a catch-all phrase or word that we use in place of what should be used in order to normalize criminality, to normalize evil. So the secret cult, what was cultic about it? These were gangs, criminal gangs, began originally with philosophical underpinning, and there were quite a number of persons who believed in that. But at the end of the day, it's about the activity, what were done. Persons killed persons, fellow students. Persons extorted money from fellow students and others. The state was never interested in these crimes because there was nothing the fraternities, remember that word, different from cult. There was nothing that was being done that was not sanctioned or licensed by the state. I will say this because if you go back, I've spoken extensively about how the fraternities were turned into criminal gangs by Babangida after the SAP riot. I stayed long enough in the university system to witness it, and I grew up essentially on UI campus. So I know, and I have spoken extensively to the militarization of the fraternities, their infiltration by persons within the Nigerian secret services, and the eventual destruction of student union solidarity in Nigeria using the fraternities that have been corrupted in destroying student solidarity. So here is the point I am making. Who are the bandits? The bandits, the word we use, bandits, these are essentially persons whom the lying system must grant the powers of impunity to, because power of impunity in Nigeria was originally licensed to them. What is the ethnicity of the bandits? Overwhelmingly Fulani, whether Nigerian or foreign. This is not to stigmatize anybody. I say this so that we'll begin to understand, as I said earlier before this session, if you are easily offended by the truth, leave. I have friends for whom I have serious respect and love who are of Fulani ethnic stock. And this is not about me profiling anybody, but at the origin of Nigeria, when the British created Nigeria, in order to preserve the British hegemony in Nigeria, power was licensed and given to the minority ethnic group known as the Fulani. The Fulani elite being the primary beneficiary of this evil license. This license of feudalism, which is at the root of Nigeria. For those of you who are ignorant and find it very easy to take offense quickly, let me explain this very quickly. Everywhere in the world, hegemonies propel countries. If the Fulani hegemony were to propel Nigeria to modernization and civilization, I'll be the first to applaud it. Hegemonies propel countries. The American state was propelled on the back of WASP hegemony, the West Anglo-Saxon Protestants. I've spoken to these in the past. The British hegemony was essentially propelled by the English, who recruited the others, the Welsh, the Celts, and others into that. The point is this: it is nothing new for an hegemony to propel the growth of a country or to influence it. But the hegemony that was unleashed on Nigeria was never for the benefit of Nigeria. It was always for the benefit of those who created Nigeria. Now, we've come to the point today where what you call banditry found its root in Zamfara State. Zamfara State is the epicenter of what we call banditry in Nigeria today. And the persons who are engaged in this banditry, what have they done to benefit the country? What have they done? Exactly what has been achieved? I'll tell you. Every member of the Nigerian ruling class today is a member of the feudal state. Whether you are in Imo State, whether you are in Lagos State, whether you are in Kaduna, in Benue, the lot of the Nigerian is not different. The virus of feudalism that had its root in the Fulani aristocracy has jumped host. Every last member of the Nigerian ruling class today is a feudal lord above the law, who acts constantly above the law. They have shown you multiple samples of this. And this is the country that we have built, where some people are constantly above the law. So what you call bandits are merely children of privilege. Fulani, in whose name power has been taken and monopolized in the country for long, and yet they see no benefit of it. So in a way, it is a reaction to the oppression of the ruling class, whether that be the Fulani ruling class or the Yoruba ruling class, but the ruling class that has become one. That is why you see in the coming political season, which has merely been disrupted by Trump's diatribe, you'll find very quickly that there are no parties again. They are all flocking into the single party that answers their collective aspirations and questions. But these have consequences. There is no trust in the public systems. Nobody trusts the system to deliver justice to them. And because they don't, each person seeks justice in his own way. I was sat here, this same chair, this same desk, speaking with you last week. And I got a call. A friend that had been kidnapped was calling me because his kidnappers, Fulani kidnappers, who kidnapped him in Ijebu Ode, and who collected ransom in Ilorin, made him call me. In Nigeria. And this is found on the fact that the state built on lies that could lock up a man who is demanding that he be treated the same as every other person, who has been found guilty of incitement, should go to prison for life, but he is busy negotiating. This country finds he can negotiate with persons who are still bearing harms. So somebody told me this morning when I was asking, what is banditry? He said it is terrorism without an agenda. That is exactly where we are. Terrorism without an agenda. But whether you like it or not, those terrorists who have no agenda, who are very, very, very ready at all points to devalue human life and to kill without remorse, have no agenda. They are different and distinct from the Islamist terrorists. When I was preparing for this sermon, part of my preparation took me to watch a documentary on Trust TV, and I listened to the terrorist bandit known as Torji. And the guy said, oh, they have nothing to do with Islamist terrorists. They don't kill. They know that Allah forbids all of that. I'm like, okay, so your own terrorism is different from Islamist terrorism. You just happen to share the same faith. And this must be clearly defined. It is a distinction that is lost when we don't pay attention. There is terrorism without agenda. That is the Fulani terrorism that limits itself to crimes against fellow Muslims. They don't discriminate. You just happen to have cattle or you happen to be available to be kidnapped. And some of them are the ones that you have seen who have moved into the forests of southern Nigeria. Their own job is to just kidnap for ransom. They are not necessarily swap and all of that. It's possible that some of them, it's about contract now. If you can, those ones don't really discriminate. It's about who pays. But that is what Nigeria has tolerated. This is what Nigeria has tolerated. There is a silly man that I've taken him out. He keeps coming, one Josh Loveward. So here is the thing. If you have a situation where you are closing your eyes to the realities of criminality because it suits your ethnic narrative or your ethno-religious prejudices and biases, what you are doing without realizing is that you are ultimately creating avenues for impunity to thrive. And that is what has happened. So you have people killing in the name of Allah. That's one branch of madness. Licensed by the Nigerian state, because that is the branch you find the likes of Pantami identified with, in the name of Allah, subhanahu wa ta'ala. They kill in his name. They justify the killings in his name. That's one branch. And then you have the other branch where allegedly your minister of state is involved, named by no less than his own successor in office. No less than his own successor in office confirms and constantly says that he is a terrorist sponsor, because that is what banditry is, terrorism without an agenda. Is constantly fingered as being one of them. He was alleged to have bought 36 Hilux trucks for terrorist leaders in Zamfara whilst he was the governor. He's on record defending their terrorism. He was said to be the one that will receive the stolen cattle that they will rustle. These are Dauda Lawal's allegations. The other day, a cleric came out and said somebody was caught with multiple weapons. And yet, this man is still in office as the Minister of State for Defense. This is the country that we have built on lies. We've built a country on lies. Because of the necessity to keep up these lies, we've built cult of personalities. First, it was the cult of Obasanjo, even though he was larger than life and at least he could put some performance behind. And then you had the cult of Bubu. Buhari, complete dotard. And they say, oh, his body language made them do the right thing. Just because we want to keep up scaffolding lies. In order to keep scaffolding these lies, you've built a state of censorship where people cannot speak to the truth of what they see. What you do is you clamp them up once they are not singing from your party line. Once they say something different from what you want to hear, you clamp them up just because you want to prevent the flow of truth. How? How do you maintain a country with a double standard where there's justice in one form for one and then in the next is something completely different? Every day, somebody or the other who does not sing the party line is getting clamped up somewhere. Anyone who is also not singing the party line, you destroy their economies. What exactly do you think happens when you construct a country on a bedrock of lies? You put up a building with blocks of lies. Ilé tí a fi tọ́mọ, ìrì ni ó wò. The house constructed of spittle is bound to crumble with the morning dew. Is bound to crumble with the morning dew. But why am I talking? What is the purpose of my exertions? You know, I wrote a piece some years back. I titled it "This House is Throwing Stone." Something along those lines. The house is throwing stone. And I want to use that to close as I bring my sermon, for want of a better word. As I bring it to a close, I want to take us to that part. It says, you know, when a house is about to crumble, when it's about to collapse, Yorubas will say, Ile Soko. Because one of the first things that will happen is that you start, bits of mortar will start dropping. It be a little bit first, and then over time, as things progress, you find larger chunks of mortar or brick falling off the structure. And Yorubas will say, Ile is Soko, the house is throwing stones. These were telltale signs, as far as they could see, of the structural deficiency of the house and of its imminent collapse. So the wise will begin to pack their bags, or if it is still fixable, they will effect the repair so that it might not collapse on top of the inhabitants. I look at the Nigerian house and I realize that this house is throwing stones. If something drastic is not done and quickly, this house will surely collapse. This house will surely collapse. It is throwing stones. It started with small bits, and these bits have grown bigger. And you may liken these bits to the evidence we have seen over time of the imminent collapse of this house. The one that I've seen in recent days, I found a little alarming. The resignation of Abubakar Badaru, the Minister of Defense, and the appointment of Christopher Musa as the Minister of Defense. How is this a sign of the house that is throwing stones? I'll explain. Christopher Musa was the CDS, that's the Chief of Defense Staff. That meant that all the service chiefs, Air Force, Navy, and Army, were reporting to him. So he had a better view of Nigeria's security architecture and the prosecution of the war on terror, which is essentially a self-defeating war on impunity, which is what the Nigerian state and its rulers have licensed. So he could see firsthand how the Nigerian army was defeating itself and how the Nigerian security apparatus had been hamstrung and incapable of fighting the entire thing that we call banditry, Islamist terrorism, Fulani, herdsmen. He could see it. And I watched the interview that he granted to Al Jazeera, where he spoke extensively about the need to confront the evil and not to negotiate with terrorists. I watched all of this. And I listened to the clip of Mutawali talking about how terrorists are not criminals, echoing Gumi's sentiment, extending the impunity on which Nigeria was founded. And then they removed this man. And then you are bringing the same man that you removed, whether it's because of the cool thing that they never confirmed, or whether it's because he had a different mindset as compared to his political superiors and he wasn't afraid to say it like he did just before he was removed. And then all of a sudden, the same man is brought after his retirement to become the defense minister, an appointment I find myself applauding. And as my dear friend Shola Ogun has said already, because of the fear of Trump, shame. It took Trump, unfortunately. But the question is, what has it taken Trump to achieve? Does it mean that all of a sudden Tinubu is interested in fighting Fulani terrorism? I'm sorry, I'm not stereotyping, but it is what it is. Some persons are taking advantage of the impunity that is generally licensed to the Fulani to do as they please in the Nigerian security space. So question is this: Mutawale is still sat in there excusing banditry and explaining away himself directly complicit in countries where people care about the truth. Somebody like Mutawale has absolutely no business anywhere near the office he occupies. And the British, masters of hypocrisy, provided us ample lessons in recent times. You would have heard me talk about the Brigadier General who was recalled from his retirement and subsequently court-martialed, stripped of his rank, and sent to prison simply because he claimed about £50,000 more than he was entitled to in child education benefits. The same British who are receivers of our own stolen commonwealth. Routinely, they sent a brigadier general to prison, stripped him of his ranks, so that society might not normalize evil. And then when Andrew Mountbatten, whatever his name is now, Windsor, yeah, when he overshot the band of decency, something princes and princelings do with even members, everybody who can afford it sometimes overshoots, even in the West. And as royalty, Andy Andrew was very, very randy in multiple manners. And when he overshot his bound, in order to re-establish the boundaries of decency, not only was he removed from his official duties, he was removed completely as a prince. Those are societies that care about standard, about what is right, even though hypocritical. But what do you see in Nigeria? A man sits in office, not even an hereditary office. A man who has never won an election has no electoral value of any sort. But because the man who has appointed him is not himself in office as a function of electoral victory, but because of Ambassador Mahmoud. I wonder when your former CJN would even get his own ambassadorial position. But the point is this: last, every society decides what kind of institutions it will build. Whilst other people are building, thanks, Gary, whilst other people are building enduring structures, systems, we are building on lies. And we expect the house to endure. How delusional can you get? But this will just be another belly aching session if we do not come to some conclusions. I'm happy that we would have our highest platform by next week, as I have said. But more importantly, if the beneficiaries will do nothing to reset Nigeria to the point where we are cognizant of the truth and work with the truth and resolution of our problems, then surely the victims must understand the need to do so and do so quickly. Because when the 100 mounds of yam are done, and they are like done now, somebody is going to have to find another 100 for the children to eat. I'll bring my lesson to a close, and this part is essentially for persons in my generation. You know, the youth, they see further than me and you, just like we used to see much further than our parents. Because believe it or not, we stood on our parents' shoulders to see the future. Our children are currently standing on our own shoulders and they are seeing the future. And the thing they are seeing indicts all of us, my generation. The common refrain when we gather these days is about how our children don't want to come back to Nigeria. The children will spend our lives and substances training. Even the poorest of us sold our substances to send our children abroad to be trained because we could see the collapse of the educational system. We could see that what was being built, what has been built today, was nowhere near anywhere as good as what we experienced. So we equalized in our own thinking. Instead of fighting to build a system, we didn't fight. We thought we were wise. Even those of us who were fighting, we still took the knowledge of what we could see, we worked with it. Sent children abroad, trained them at great cost. Where are those kids today? They've stood on our shoulders. They've seen the edifice of lies that we have built. I am glad that I can say what I'm saying with my conscience clear. I did nothing to contribute to this. Yeah. But look all around you. The children are gone because they can see. They can see. They see the thing we have built. And yes, Boris Johnson merely reminded us of what we have built. He said Nigeria is safe. He was in Imo. Everything is perfect. And he was thanking us. They ship their beer, their Guinness and whiskey to us. And we ship our nurses and doctors. He was very, very blunt in telling us. Just like Cameron told us how fantastically corrupt we are. The only thing fantastic about our corruption is the impunity. That was what Cameron was talking about. Impunity. Fantastic. When something happens without consequence. That was what he was talking about. And that is why they don't want that kind of fantastic corruption in their space. That's why they jailed the Brigadier General. So it's on us. The joke is completely on us. It's not on them. We are the ones who have built a house of lies. But me, you, we need to come to the knowledge of the fact that we must rescue this country. Even if we are going to break it, we must rescue it from those who are benefiting from the putrefaction of Nigeria. It is critical that you understand that if we do not fight to ensure that the rule of law applies in Nigeria, the state of impunity will be sustained. Nothing will change. Our children would inherit this mess if they are stupid like me and you. If you notice, like I told you, the ones whom we sent ahead, they've taken off. They're not coming back unless we do something about this. The ones who are here are looking to escape because they can see what we have built. The house of lies that we have built is going to collapse. It is time to acknowledge that we've been lying to ourselves and then look to build a country that works for everybody. This one is working for no one. Even the rulers are victims of the system they have built. Victims. Have you seen them disguising their policemen in suit? Policemen will never wear suit before. God bless you all. God keep you. I will see you next week. And I'm sure that by the time we are meeting, we should have news as to how to access the platform and how to register yourselves. And we should have some sort of outline for what we need to do. But you cannot build a house on lies and expect it to stand. This house will fall, and it needs to fall. But we need to be deliberate about building and rebuilding so that we do not fall or perish in the collapsing edifice. God bless you all, and I'll see you next week.